There we have the ultimate 12-month plan for a new you in 2012 with all the tips and tools you need to turn your resolutions into reality. And next up, it's the month of March, and the goal, curb your cravings for what we're calling the 3 deadly S's: salt, sugar, and smoking. So today it's all about teaching you how to crave things that are good for you. And I'm going to explain to you why, whether it's something salty or sweet, what's going on in your brain, it's all a very similar reaction. And that's, of course, why we're having an epidemic in our society when it comes to eating too many sweets and actually becoming more and more obese. Because the pleasure centers of your brain light up just like if you're taking another addictive substances, whether it's cocaine or heroin. Same similar idea if you're eating sweets, for instance. Now, normally in your brain, you're looking at axons. Now, they communicate with each other. The green dots are dopamine. GABA is represented by the yellow dots. Usually they're in homeostasis, but when you're doing something addictive, your brain is flooded with dopamine. Your entire body gets that sensation of pleasure. And that feels great, right? After a really sugary meal. But there's a lot of things going on in your body after you eat, say, that really sugary meal. Your blood sugar is increasing significantly. As your blood sugar goes up, your pancreas responds. What does your pancreas do in response? It secretes insulin. So as your pancreas is secreting insulin, what it's doing is it's telling all this sugar in your body to enter your body's cells. But then something interesting happens. Up in your brain, you're going to see the brain goes dark. Because without that sugar rush, all those pleasure centers are no longer firing. So what do? You eat another cookie. You eat another sugary snack to get you excited again, to release more of that dopamine. The problem is, over time, as these behaviors become addictive, you eat not to feel good, just to feel normal.
You know, the average American eats 22 teaspoons of added sugar each day.
In addition to the natural sugars you're eating.
Right, exactly. And, you know, it doesn't count the fruit and all the good stuff. But, you know, what do you think this whole audience would eat an entire year?
We don't eat extra sugar. We're good
audience, we did the math. I did the math, and this audience in a given year together eats 14,136 pounds of extra sugar in a year. That's 70 pounds a person here.
What does that sugar do? It turns into fat.
So think about sugar next time you're eating it. Are you eating it because you need it, or are you eating it to satisfy those pleasure centers we talked about? I do want to move on to our next, what we're calling another deadly S, and that is salt. So this is how much salt you all are eating. The average American consumes more than twice the recommended amount of sodium each and every day. That increases your risk for high blood pressure, heart attacks and heart disease, strokes, kidney failure. As your sodium intake increases for some people, that leads to your propensity to have high blood pressure. So what can you do if you're craving salt all day? Think about breakfast. Research actually shows that if you start your day with a high sugar breakfast, things like bagels or other sugary meals, throughout the day, it primes your body to crave more sugar, right? So switch to lean proteins in the morning instead, and you're less likely to overindulge in sugars throughout the day.
So if you want to cut out the sugar, add the spice. So instead of using sugar, use a little cinnamon or a little nutmeg to give that, you know, the flavor, a little sugary flavor to your food. Or if you want to give a little...
If you need the spice, instead of a, you know, you can use cayenne pepper to add a spicy flavor, or coriander. It gives it kind of a salty flavor. So natural ways to beat the salt.
Yeah.
And there's something else you can use a cinnamon stick for. There's a reason I'm doing that, because nearly 50 million Americans, smoking is not just a craving, it's a deadly addiction. So we actually asked Dr. Linda Hyder-Ferry, a leading smoking cessation expert, to share her secrets with us in terms of snuffing out your cigarette habit.
Every cigarette you smoke shaves 7 minutes off your life, and every puff takes its toll on your body. So which do you want? Better skin, brighter smile, a more satisfying sex life, or the increased risk of cancer, heart disease, stroke, and premature death? So here are D's to help you quit. The first D is doctor. Most people need medication, and it's best to start weeks before your quit date. Date. Set a quit date and prepare for it. Get rid of all your ashtrays, clean up your house, and create an environment ready for success. Drink cold water with a straw. Ice cold water stimulates the brain and diminishes your cravings. The straw is about the same size as a cigarette and gives you something to do with your hand. Deep breathing. You'll be amazed how deep breathing alleviates the cravings to smoke, even without a cigarette. Do something for yourself. Rewarding your milestones will motivate you to become an ex-smoker. Remember, every time you avoid the temptation to smoke or use tobacco, you're reclaiming your power and your health.
Thanks for those great tips, and I do have one more. Eating foods that are highly alkaline, spinach, celery, cucumbers, it can actually change the way your taste buds respond to cigarettes so that the awful taste from cigarettes can help you want to smoke less. It can help you quit. It's a multifaceted approach in terms of quitting smoking. Well, who wants to move on to April? I do. So, the month of April is a challenge. For 30 days, you're going to focus on eating fresh, real foods. Boxes, wrappers, processed foods, we're going to eliminate those in our Eat Fresh Challenge. Is it possible? Sure. Yes, it is. And we have Colette here, a self-proclaimed junk food junkie. All right? And I want you and everyone else to listen to this tip. If you switch from processed to fresh foods, you can drop 8 pounds and cut your cholesterol by 20%. And that's an important takeaway because, Colette, you love your processed foods, right?
Yeah.
To put it mildly. Well, you are very similar to a lot of us here in America. But what happens when you're eating these processed foods? A lot of them are loaded with saturated fats, trans fats. I consider that gummy bears for your arteries. So pretend this is an artery for me. When you're eating these trans fats, what are they doing? They're gumming up your arteries. When that happens, what doesn't happen? Blood does not flow properly through your arteries. That's why you can get strokes and heart attacks from eating overly processed foods throughout your entire life. Now, Colette, we need you to make a change. When you start talking about processed foods, even this somewhat healthy breakfast sandwich right here, it's convenient. It packs 440 calories, 31 grams of fat, and 27 grams of carbohydrates. That doesn't even take into account the fact that in this sandwich is over half of your recommended daily amount of sodium. So, let's take something a lot more simple, just as easy to make. These are some scrambled eggs, 2 of them with a bowl of berries on the side. You cut out 16 grams of fat, you cut out 25 grams of carbohydrates, nearly 200 calories less, but you have the same amount of protein. It's the protein that helps you feel satisfied.
You know, we have to plan it. So instead of potato chips, and this is something I actually do, one of the few things I actually do. One of the things is nuts. I actually usually eat a lot of trail mix or nuts and have that, and it's just chock full. This is crunch and vitamins and, you know, protein as well. And, you know, if this is one thing that I actually do, but I'm going to take that challenge with you.
Yeah, I hope so, because
We'll do it.
We're going to keep our eye on you.
in general, just people are just eating too much processed foods. It causes things like asthma, developmental problems, ADHD, even a link to autism, things like that. And it can bump your cholesterol. You know, because of all the kids eating all these processed foods, we've had to go from screening just the kids we thought were at risk to screening all kids for cholesterol as early as age 9 now.
Yeah.
You know, it's just sad that we're seeing all these adult problems starting younger and younger and younger in kids.
And one of the easiest ways to eliminate this problem is to eat fresh. I encourage everyone to sign up for our Eat Fresh Challenge by going to thedoctorstv.com. Colette, are you up for the challenge?
I'm going to try. I'm up for it.
You know what? Every step counts. And stay with us because up next, the secrets to improving your skin from the inside out, including a brand new wrinkle cure. Some say it's better than Botox.
New wrinkle buster in the neighborhood. We do want to show the kind of results you can expect to get. Look at that.
Tomorrow on The Doctors.
We have our own cool little winter white party going on right here.
The white food that can kill cancer cells.
Does white wine have the same health benefits as red?
White up your life. The Doctors. Tomorrow.
Closed captioning of this program is brought to you in part by Lotto 649. Welcome to Cloud 649.
selenium, antioxidant important for tissue elasticity. So eat up for younger looking skin.
Alright, a song by Paul Beckman, Polyrainbow Song. Rap song. Using guitar chords C, A7, D7, and G. This song is going to be called Switch from Processed Foods to Fresh Foods. Well, it's time to make the switch in your life, if you can. From processed foods all your life, from eating out of a can. Switch from processed foods, the kind you find packed in a box, and gear yourself towards fresh foods a lot. You will find almost any kind a vast improvement, like the docs were saying. It's an improvement. You can cut the amount of fat that you put on the cholesterol found in processed foods. Well, that's all wrong. You gotta make the switch now to find a way. Something healthier in 2012. You made the switch from processed foods to healthier ones, yeah. And now you gotta make the switch somehow. If you can do it, you know that you got the power. You gotta make the switch somehow, because if you don't, you're risking your life every hour. Processed foods have so much stuff in them these days, you hardly know what's what, including very often preservatives and lots of fat. Well, what else? If you can make the switch, if you can make the switch, you'll be doing something better, which will help you, indeed it's true. Well, I'm gonna try it. How about you? Alrighty. That's the song.